Let's get going. For those of you who don't know me, most of you do. I'm just quickly going to run through this. I'm Serena. I call myself a mindset and AI strategist. Definitely not a specialist, but I'm very much intrigued in how the brain actually influences human behavior. And that is where my psychometrist background. I've had my private practice for many years, and that is where the connection point for all of this started. And I created two digital products. One is called Ava, and the one is Faith. Tonight is not about those products. Tonight is about a technique that is very much proven itself. And I'm so excited because I'm going to show you how your brain actually sabotages you and what you can do to override that. So tonight's session is all about, I'm going to give you a 10-second technique where you can override your subconscious mind, because we all know that our subconscious mind is actually reading the show. Okay, so your brain, I'm just going to give you some facts that you might know, but I'm going to explain it as how I got to this revelation, and then when I went into testing, what the results were. So your brain is not designed to obey affirmations. So think about when we were kids at school, and you would be a naughty one, and your teacher would say, go right on the board 100 times, I will not be naughty, I will not be naughty. What this is, we are actually engaging your conscious mind to start doing something the way that start doing we want our mind to actually start acting in a way so our behavior is going to match up to what we want. So this woman is there, I can do this and I can do this. And we are trying from a conscious mind, trying to convince ourselves, convince our brains that we are able to do this. It doesn't matter what it is, but it is a conscious decision. Okay. But we all know about that voice that is talking back at you. It says, you're right. Who do you think you are? Okay. So what your brain actually does, it responds to impulses. And as an example, I'm going to use this example like, I want to lose weight. All right. That is a conscious decision that I've now taken with my mind and say, I want to lose weight. Okay. So what happens? I'm going to quickly give you a rundown on how thought is actually formed in your brain. Now you walk past this very nice plate of cookies. And if you're lucky, you're going to have the mug and bean choc chip cookies. You're going to smell it. You're going to see it. You're going to almost like Pavlov's dog start to salivate because you probably have tasted that before. All right. So this impulse, now impulse comes into your brain through your five senses. All right. So you smell it, you see it, and all of a sudden stuff is happening on a subconscious level that you don't even are aware of. Okay. But the impulse that is actually coming into your brain immediately, the main purpose of any impulse going into your brain is for reward or for survival. There's no cognitive long-term strategy in mind, if we can if we can put it in inverted commas, that the impulse that you are getting is going to take you to the goals that you want over a long period of time. It is only focused on two things: reward and survival. All right. So imagine walking past this plate of cookies. You smell it, you see it, your senses are taking it in. All right. What happens then is, this is amazing if you think about it. On a subconscious level, the impulse gets triggered and it goes into your frontal cortex. And it goes and connects to any remotely. And when I say any remotely, it is any remotely similar experience, memory, taste that you've had about a cookie, a chocolate chip cookie. And for me, it was at Mug and Bean. That's why it came to my conscious mind. So your brain then secretes dopamine and other chemicals. And this is where a lot of people are not aware of it. It secretes the chemicals based on the emotional connection that is attached to this memory. So if you have got a good memory about the impulse that you're getting, you might have a balanced secretion of chemicals. But say, for instance, you have been in an accident years ago, and all of a sudden you drive past an accident and you smell the same fuel on the road, and you are immediately taken back to that. Now, all of a sudden, without you realizing it, your heart start to thump in your throat, or to pump in your throat, and you are jittery, and all of a sudden all of this adrenaline is in your body, and you have not consciously decided that this is going to happen, but on a subconscious level it is automatically there, because the impulse is the trigger to the physical outward display of what the next step is that's going to happen in your body. All right. So now, only after that has happened in a split second, because if I tell you now, and many of you have done this experience with me before, if I tell you don't think about a pink elephant, even when I say the word don't, your brain comes up with a pink elephant, because exactly the same. You heard the impulse, you saw an elephant, pink, your brain puts it together and it brings it to your forefront, call it the forefront mind, but it's your conscious mind. So now all of a sudden, I walk past these cookies without me having any choice. I remember, and the desire appears for a cookie. All right. Now only the rational brain arrives late and they start negotiating with me. And many of us are trying to run our lives from this state only, and not aware of what is happening there and what influence do I have to change the outcome that I want based on the input that I give my mind. I always remember I said the eyes are the doorway to the brain. And I understand it so clearly today, because if I don't allow anything to come through my senses, there's no way that it's going to get stuck in my mind with a negative emotion that is going to affect the secretion of chemicals when I get a similar impulse in the future. And that is why it is so important to understand how thought is formed. Because even the Bible talks about, there was one verse that I once read. Quickly just going to give you this backstory. It says, be aware that your mind is not overcome with darkness. Now, for me, we all understand it. That's the evil, that's all of it. But when I started investigating how thought is formed and I did some research, I came across a study that was done where they actually dissected two people that were brought up in the same town with very similar situations, but one a very stable environment and one a very unstable environment with a lot of trauma. And I think it was the matric farewell evening. They were unfortunately both killed in a car accident, and they got approval to dissect these two people's brains. And what they saw is, with a person that was in the traumatic experience, they were actually, when they dissected the brain, there were black patches on the brain. So when the Bible says, be aware, not that your mind not be overcome with darkness, it's not only just the evil side or the negative side of life. It is a physical connection where the neurons come together. It actually forms a dark blotch in your brain. And that dark blotch is what we need to be aware of, because if we don't know how to override this, things like this with the impulse goes to the wrong place and it extracts the wrong chemicals and it extracts the wrong behavior. And at the end of the day, you are trying with your conscious mind to fix it. And that's not how you're going to get this fixed. Are you all with me so far? Okay. So we need to be aware of how this forms, because when your rational brain then comes in late and it starts negotiating, it's going to be the dog that you feed the most that's going to get the cookie or not. And depending on how emotional connected you are, what food does to your body, that is going to determine how much harder it's going to be for you to say no or to say yes. If you didn't have a good experience with that cookie, it's going to be very easy to say no. Okay, so this is how your brain responds to the impulses. Okay, so how does this play out in us building businesses? So now I do a post, all right? So exactly the same. I do a post, I put it out there. Now the response comes back and it's crickets. There's nothing, okay? That is the response then that goes, the impulse that I get, that goes exactly through the same process. Now it goes back and say, okay, what is remotely similar to what you are now experiencing? And what am I experiencing? Rejection. I'm not good enough. this isn't working. I don't have what it takes. And it goes through my mind. If I have entertained these limiting beliefs in my life in the past, and I'm not overriding and reframing that and changing this with this session, with a technique that I'm going to show you tonight that's so incredibly easy. And that's why I'm so excited, because I know it's easy for us to change that. If we don't do it, we're actually strengthening that limiting belief to become even stronger with the next impulse that is remotely similar to rejection. All right, so now the impulse is trying to protect me from discomfort. I personally, to be quite honest with you, personally, in the last season I went through, I personally was so tested on this, because my subconscious wanted to protect me so much from discomfort. And what do you want to do? You just want to hide. I just fell off the rails a bit. Now, everybody goes through a dip like that, but understanding what is happening, this is what got me out of it. Understanding, looking back, thinking about the process that is happening without my conscious mind being aware of it and in control of it. If you know how to manage your subconscious mind, it becomes so much easier to work through these things. Okay, so the impulse is trying to protect you from discomfort. It's not going to help you achieve the goal. So think about, what are your business goals? And then know, based on the limiting beliefs that are stuck in your mind, that are the dark blotches in your mind, based on that, that is going to determine if you'll be able to break through and achieve the goals. But you have to work through this, because now what this impulse is going to tell me is, stop posting. Just protect yourself. And what is the outcome of that? More crickets. And it's this spiral, it's this loop that you're going to get stuck into if you don't understand how to stop that. Now, a lot of people are unaware of this process. A lot of people are not engaged in what is happening in their subconscious mind in real life. And they don't stop this. They just allow this to become bigger and stronger. And the next time, it's just another evidence of, yes, rejection is my part of my life. All right. So we are all aware of the 95% subconscious that is ruling the show. But too many people are trying to sort that out with the 5% that they think, I need to be more disciplined. I need to make better choices. I cannot tell you how many times I have tried to convince myself when I was younger, just decide you want to do it. There's no power in decision if your subconscious is not in coherence with the decision that you're making in your conscious mind. If there is incoherence, there's no way that the conscious mind is going to win. And if this is the only thing that you're going to remember for tonight, I'm going to give you a clue on where to start fixing the problems that you're currently having, where you feel stuck, and how you need to handle that. Because your brain treats immediate relief like success. So I eat that cookie, and oh my word, it's so nice. My brain see that success, even when it moves you further away from what you actually want. So think again about your business goals. How is your brain currently keeping you, in inverted commas, safe, because you are not actually addressing the core of what is happening in your subconscious? You are giving over to the immediate success of feeling safe, feeling not in a place of discomfort, and you're not threatened. So if I'm not out there, I cannot be judged. If I'm not out there, I cannot be rejected. So what do? We go back in hiding. Sometimes I have to agree. Sometimes this is how I function. Sometimes when I am confused, I purposefully have to move myself out of the situation to get clarity. That's different. If you need clarity to get out of the noise, it is because you are aware of what your brain needs and how you function to get to the next level. So do not feel that you have to function on this level 24/7. And when you don't do a post, she's again having a problem with her subconscious. That's not always the case. But it's very often the case when people are not aware of this is what's happening. All right. Because what happens then is, like, I know what I should do, but I can't get myself to do it. Because your subconscious is again ruling the show. So up to this, nothing new. You guys are aware of it. I'm giving you an overview. All right. But what happens now? I've done the post, crickets, feel the rejection. Chemicals are secreted. Now I'm battling with my conscious mind because now I have to convince myself. Okay. Because the spiral then begins because I'm now entertaining why I'm not good enough. It's not something that I would say out loud. It's something that you entertain, a thought that comes up. Why does this always happen to me? Why can't I figure this out? And when we do it, let me just give me a one in the comment if you understand that this is happening with you. Let's say true that. Give me a one in the comment if this is something that you recognize. This is something that happens before you have it. Absolutely. Before you have it, you are battling with the fact that I have to now figure out how to deal with all of these questions. Because what we don't realize, guys, is that we are repeating identity questions. And the identity questions that we ask determine the identity that we can fill, not who we are. Because you are perfectly and wonderfully made exactly the way that God intended you to do for the purpose that He wants you to do to fill. But if we ask the questions, why am I not good enough? Your brain, remember what I tell you now, your brain cannot but go and look for an answer so it can answer you. So the longer you are asking these questions, why am I not good enough? Why does it always happen to me? You're going to get the answers to that. Okay. It's going to take you back. Why not good enough? And you're going to start remembering. Now, remember exactly the same with the cookies. The impulse is why I'm not good enough. If I now tell you, give me an answer. Why is the sky blue? Every single one of you will be able to come up with an answer, even if it's incorrect. But your brain cannot but come up with a possible solution why the sky is blue. And then, if you understand how memory is formed, is through the process that I call ask, answer, discuss. And if you've got kids at school and you want people to remember something, you follow this process. You first ask a question. Why is the sky blue? And you leave it there. You let them think. You let them process. Why is this the case? And then answer it. Now you either let them answer it or you come with the correct answer. Now they can say, oh, it's the refraction of the light and it's the way, and they can come with all sorts of answers. If it's not correct, you supply the correct answer and then discuss it. Well, if that is the case, then this and this and this is also the effect. Understand what I'm saying? So when I'm saying, why am I not good enough? Your brain goes through exactly the same process. He answers you. You ask a question, he answers you, and then you discuss it. Because now we remember when you were in grade 1, your teacher looked at you funny and you gave a meaning to it. I am not good enough. Okay? Why does it always happen to me? Because now your brain is like a Google search that you have launched that command, and it comes back and says, because remember when your mom said this to you, and then your friend made this comment, and it's like now a pattern because this is not just who I am. This is just what I've been dealt. This is just this recurring pattern that I just might have to figure out. And why can't I figure this out? Let's start. Remember in math class when the teacher said, oh man, how can you be so dumb? And it starts bringing everything, remember, because it's remotely similar to the impulse that you are getting. It's remotely similar and reflects it back to you. It cannot but answer you for what you ask it. So be aware and remember from today forward, if you ever catch yourself asking, why can't I figure this out? Or what's wrong with me? Imagine now giving that comment to your child. What's wrong with you? You have just placed an impulse retraction for that child to go back to whenever that child is going to ask, what's wrong with you? Because even my mom asked me that. Okay. But this happens without us being aware. But now today I'm going to share you something. Now my personal search in getting an answer to this came with the verse that I read. And I had a struggle with this verse because God said, ask and keep on asking, it will be given. Seek and keep on seeking. Knock and it will. Okay, that's what the word says. And He revealed to me that there's a shameless insistence and persistence that he spoke about. Okay? You don't give up. You don't stop asking. You don't stop seeking. You don't quit. It's a shameless insistence that I'm going to get the answer because that's what the promise is at the end. But when I realized that the questions that we are asking, God, why aren't you there for me when I need it? Sorry, guys. Why aren't you there when I need you? Questions that I'm asking are not giving me the answers that God intended me to hear. All right. So this is very, very, very important because ask and it will be given to you is a promise. Seek and you will find. If you quit, you're not going to find. If you don't, you're going to continue until everything that God has for you comes together. And that's when I realized, but maybe, just maybe, we've been asking the wrong questions. Okay, so I'm taking you now years back when I started to connect the points that made sense to me. All right. And when I saw this, I said, okay, wait a minute. Now, with all my psychology background, I put everything together and I realized, okay, we all have a default mode. Our brains work on a default mode. And we all know it because it's always on, because that's your subconscious. And if I want to buy a red BMW now, all of a sudden that's my thing. What happens? You start to notice the red BMWs on the road, right? Because why? Your brain is like a scan. It looks for evidence, it looks for patterns, and it looks for meaning. So imagine when the word says, renew your mind, daily renew your mind. What does it mean? Change the evidence, change the input, change the patterns, change the meaning. Okay. So that is the basis of what we're talking about. So there's a wrong way also to look at it. I'm going to do a very practical example with you. So imagine this is a problem that I'm giving you. This represents a real life problem. Okay. Who of you are feeling excited about this problem in front of you? Who gets excited about something like that? Who's totally confused about it? Okay, totally confused. All right. But now, this math problems represent anything that we need to do that's hard. All right. So what we usually do, we look at it and say, okay, I can do this. Math is easy. I can solve it. There's no match for me. I'm using my conscious mind trying to, would is convince myself that I can do this. So when I then go out and do business and I feel totally overwhelmed, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm using my conscious mind and I say, I can do this. But what happens with that little voice? Yeah, right. Who do you think you are? This isn't easy. And who are you trying to fool? Yeah. So this was a real life problem that I saw, okay, if this is how your brain works, then I'm going to test it as a real life problem because your brain actually cannot work when there's internal conflict, when there's resistance, and when we call it cognitive dissonance. And that means when your brain actually hates inconsistency. So when your conscious mind is not convinced that you can solve that, your subconscious is also not convinced. Then he likes it because then we're on the same page. But when your subconscious and your conscious mind is not on the same page, it's not going to work. And who's going to win always? The 95% subconscious. So if your beliefs is rooted in the fact that you're trying to convince yourself otherwise, but it's not the core root of who you are, is not convinced about that you are able to do this, then it's never going to happen. And this is where the override mechanism, the 10-second reset comes in because it's all down to the questions we're going to start asking. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of how I saw this play out in front of my very eyes. And it became a method that I used in my practice for many years. And I've seen many people come back to me with, oh my word, if I only knew this earlier. And that is why I'm so excited because I'm convinced about it because I tested it on children that didn't know what I was doing. All right. It is harder for us adults to do this. It is much harder. But if you understand how it works, and that's why I am always after understanding, because if I understand the process, I know where I can stop myself in the sequence of events, what's happening in my mind. Then I know exactly, oh, I'm now there. And that is why I created ABA, to help me with awareness. I need to be aware of it so I can do something about it. All right. So it is story time. I'm going to introduce you to my daughter. That is Shanae, and that is AJ on the left. And I homeschooled them from grade 1. Okay. Now, Shanae is a well-rounded individual. Okay. She's generally good in everything but maths. Okay. And her brother, opposite, he was much better at maths as her. Now, she's very competitive, and she did not like the fact that her brother was a little bit better than her in maths. All right. So what we had every single morning, we would start with the thing that is the hardest so we can just tick it off and move on, right? We would start with maths. I had my school there. Would come around the corner and I would know, oh my word, okay, just give me grace for this first hour that we just get through maths and let's just go do it. Tears upon tears every morning was like a normal for us, all right? So this was her. She did not like it. And what was I doing as a mom? I was trying to convince herself, just believe in yourself. Just believe in yourself. You can do it. And I tried her to convince herself by giving her the words, and I just tell yourself, you can do it. You can do it. But what did she have in the background? A little voice telling her, no, I can't. Look at my brother, how easy. And she saw the evidence. She saw the pattern. Impulse made her believe that she's not good enough, not bright enough for maths, and all of those limiting beliefs, it made it even stronger. Okay, we are all very familiar with this process up to this point. And then understanding how the brain is using thought, understanding how it retrieves information, I realized, but what if we give it another impulse? If your brain is made to answer a question as a default mode that is always on, always looking for answers, imagine your brain being like a Google search bar. If I go and I say, I want information about freshwater fish with yellow spots and a blue tail, what am I going to get? I'm not going to get red fish that you find in the ocean. I'm going to get exactly what I asked for. So think about your brain as a Google search bar, all right? The very first thing that you need to be aware of is what is your preferred reality. If that is unclear, you cannot follow this process, all right? So think about it. What is the preferred reality? Then describe the feeling or the identity behavior behind that reality. I'm going to give you an example now and you're going to understand it. And then the very, very simple way of taking that in a workable form that's going to change your life, you convert it into a why question. All right? And then you just launch it. Those 4 steps have changed that girl that I showed you on the screen, has changed her life completely, not just in one area, in many areas. I had a chat with her earlier on. I said to her, I'm going to talk about you tonight. She said, oh, the why questions. And she said to me, you know what, you should start paying me for the why questions because you're always talking about what it has done for me and it's still. And she said to me, I've just launched another one today because this has made such a huge impact. When you stop questioning it, you stop resisting it, you stop wanting to understand, but how does it work? And you just allow the process to do how your brain is actually put together to work for you, you're going to see an incredible difference. So this is now, I'll say, okay, if you then want to say, Shanae, you want maths to be something else to you, don't you? And she said, what? I said, what do you want maths to be? And she said to me the following. Now, I kid you not, this was a question. She said to me, why am I so fortunate that maths is so easy, fun, and funny? That was what her preferred reality was. She took it a why question. She put in, why am I so fortunate? Why? Because fortunate puts it in a completely different frame than why am I so sickling with this and why is it so hard for me? Fortunate puts you in a state of gratitude from the get-go. So it immediately goes to the positive side and said, why am I so fortunate that maths is, and she decided what the preferred reality for her should be and what maths should be for her. I said, listen, that's what you're going to do. She wrote on the whiteboard and she said, why is maths so, why am I so fortunate that maths is so easy, fun and funny? It is not, guys, very important. It's not about getting an answer. It's not about engaging your conscious mind to figuring out how it should be. How many times have you heard people talk about it's not about the how? It's not about the how. This process, it's got nothing to do about the how. It's about the launching of the impulse that I'm giving my brain, that my brain does not have he doesn't have a choice not to respond in the way that I'm giving the impulse to him. So now I've launched my brain. Why am I so fortunate? So it immediately goes to things because you are so fortunate because you were made in his image. All the stuff that was invested into her brain before comes to the forefront. Now we start to remembering all these truths. That math is so easy, fun, and funny. Okay, that was her launching questions. She would come in every morning. I said, what's your question? I would each ask the kids what their question were. And she would say, oh, why am I so fortunate? Maths is so easy, fun, and funny. That's it. And then we would start with the day. We would go on with the day and never talk about the why question again. I kid you not. And they are here. AJ is here. He was there. Shania was there. I kid you not, 3 days. On the third day that I came around the corner, I was expecting tears. I was, okay, here we go, maths again. And I come around the corner and I saw her like wiggling and playing on a chair. And she goes, so what are you doing? She said, I'm doing my maths. I said, you doing what? And she said, I'm busy with my maths. And she was laughing. And she was like, she said, it's so fun because it's easy, Mom. I've got everything right. And when she said that to me, I said, Shania, just stop. What was your preferred reality for maths? I want maths to be easy, fun, and funny. And within 3 days, guys, I kid you not, 3 days, in front of my own eyes, an 8-year-old girl that didn't have a clue what I was doing, what I was testing. I didn't tell her what we're going to, I just taught her how to launch a why question so her brain can do the thing that it was made to do. And it worked in front of my very eyes. And I promise you, it was only in matric. Now that was when she was 8. Only when she wrote her very last math exam that she asked anybody for help to help her with it. Never, ever, ever, ever did she had a problem with maths ever again. Because why? Her subconscious was convinced about it. I can do this. Not I can do this, and but how I'm gonna. It's like, why am I so fortunate that maths is this, and this to me? Launch, done, walk away, forget about it. Your subconscious is triggered to come back with he cannot but answer you with something that you've asked it. So now go back. Ask and keep on asking. Maybe we've been asking the wrong questions. If we are taught how to ask the right questions, so we can launch our brains to actually start operating in the way that God wants to have that abundance, wants us to have that breakthrough. But then I said, okay, this might have been a fluke. Okay, this is too good to be true. Like the mom and me said, I'm a wit. Okay. And I decided then, okay, let's test this. Without explaining to her what I was doing, I said to her, okay, Shania, what do you want to do? Because it's not about me. It's not about, you cannot influence somebody else's subconscious that way. You can only give it impulses. And that is why we have got the life and death lies in the tongue. What you say to people can either help them move out of a place of despair or go deeper in it. So if I tell man, you're a loser, I'm just creating a stronger dark blotch in their brain that they will have to deal with. So you have to ask, what else do you want to do? Oh my word, guys. And this is what my daughter said. This was her next question that she launched. Why am I so fortunate to have a successful business at the age of 9? And immediately, my throat almost closed because it was 3 weeks before her 9th birthday. Okay, so I got it and I said, okay, I'm going to step back and I always wanted to prepare her for possible failure. I don't want her to get excited. You know how we are? We want to protect our children. We don't want them to get hurt. 3 weeks to go, I said, okay, launch a why question. And she did exactly the same. She would come in, they raised the math question because that was a reality already. And she said, why am I so fortunate to have a successful business at the age of 9? Okay. And she launched it every single day without answering it, without thinking, without reasoning, without doubting, without wondering how am I going to do that, without thinking about the time, because we think in linear time. God doesn't think like that. It's something that I have to really, I had to sit with that for a while now in my season. That time is not wasted time. It's not past. It's not too late because we think linearly. God can do miracles in a moment. But if we limit it in time, we put the boundaries of anxiety around the time frame because we think it should fit in a certain box. If we can just learn to launch the right questions and we allow our mind to come up with the answers in the time that is suitable for this journey of yours to make sense in God's plan, that is when things start to change. So her subconscious then went to work. Okay. Nothing else. Her subconscious will launch. Why am I so fortunate to have a successful business at the age of 9? Her brain couldn't resist the impulse she gave it. And then what happened was, during that time, I cannot remember exactly the time. It was 3 weeks when she started asking the question. And then she got invited to a birthday party. And I picked her up from the party and she just immediately, not once in that time did she ask me, but what am I going to do? It's almost time for my birthday. Not once did her mind go there. She just launched it, forgot about it, and let her mind do the rest. She jumped in the car and she was so excited. And she said to me, I know what I'm going to do for my business. I said, what? She said, I'm going to do dog blankets. I said, dog blankets? She said, yes. I said, oh, how did you think about dog blankets? Now listen to what she said to me. She said, the mom of that hosted the birthday party had some activities, and they showed her how to do the tie knot dog blankets. And she said she sat there, and all of a sudden the idea came to her. But I love dogs. I can do this. Maybe this is my business. Can you see how her brain, the scanning mode that read BMW business opportunities, she never would have thought about it. It never would have come to the conscious mind that, oh, I can do this for business. But because she launched the preferred reality, her subconscious jumped into work and presented the opportunities in a time, in a manner that, oh my word, I can do this. And she just there and then decided she's going to do dog blankets. Okay, I'll be your assistant with regards to let's go and say, what do you need? Where do we get the material? And I just help with the production part of it. Okay. That's all I did. And I kid you not, on her 9th birthday, that was the night before her birthday. She was already selling dog blankets to all the pet shops in town. She was sending it to Gauteng for orders from people that send it to her. And she called her business Sharpay because she reckoned Shanae is making it, somebody should pay for it. So Sharpay Creations is what she created on her 9th birthday. Okay? When I saw what she was able to achieve with not understanding, not questioning, not doubting, what am I doing? Nah, it's too good to be true. Oh, there must be a catch. She simply launched the question. The morning of her 9th birthday, I said to her, I'm so proud of you, Shanae. You know what? The only thing that you still need is a website. You know what her first response was to me? Well, I'm just going to launch my why question. Why am I so fortunate to have a website? Fun. Go on with the day. That evening, my brother phones. Okay. He phones. And obviously my mom had told him about because they were visiting us. And he said to Shanae, I saw what you were doing. I'm so proud of you. But you know what? you need a website. And she said, yes, I know. I did ask for it. I said, but I'm going to give you one. That night, she got a website after she launched her third why question. Now, this is three examples, guys. Three examples. How this little girl has understood a method without doubting, questioning, needing to understand it, just applying a method. Now, very interesting. This is her today. She actually makes a living from her business. She calls it Combers because it's the English for Combash. It started all with dog blankets, and Combers started the same way many great things do, with one special dog and a question. She is paying for a whole wedding from this business. This is her bread and butter. She is now today a fully owned business owner, and it started when she was 9 years old, 8 years old, 3 weeks before she was 9. And up to today, she is using why questions. And I cannot tell you, there was a time where everybody just looked at her and she said, how do you do that? Because when she started her dog business, she started with the dog, and she opened up an Instagram account, and then she would just um, enroll or join online competitions. And she would win the one after the other, after the other. And all she said, why am I so fortunate to win whatever is mine, to win what comes to me? No question, no nothing. And she would win competition after competition after competition. Now I'm saying it again. When you grasp this, it is not easy for everybody, because a lot of people are questioning about it. They've got limiting beliefs about how these things work, and they stop that before you can allow that to actually take out hold of you. When somebody just, I don't need to understand it, I'm just launching the right question. It's not who or anything. It's like understanding how your brain actually is impacted by an impulse. So now I am controlling the impulse. I'm launching it with my Google search bar, and my brain cannot but answer me the right question in the timing that God sees fit. This is how this is going to work. So let's recap. Your brain cannot but answer the questions you ask it. It cannot but. There's no two ways about it that you can ask your brain a question and it's not going to answer you. So I want you to stop asking the wrong questions. Not, why can't I figure this out? What is wrong with me? You look at everybody else and say, but why can't I get the success that A, B, and C is getting? You're asking the wrong questions. And it's not about getting an answer. It's not again about getting a full-on plan how you're going to do it. And that is why many people always say, just go over in action. Start walking in the direction. All it actually is, it's just go after the preferred reality that you want. But now you've got this tool that you're going to use behind the action that you're going to take. You're going to launch your why questions. Okay, and it's not about how it's going to happen. Don't try to use the 5% to fix the 95%. Just use your why question correctly. So fine tune this just to make it very clear for you. We don't say, why am I a billionaire? Because even in that why question, your subconscious, there's still resistance, because the gap between where you probably are now and a billionaire is in your mind, you can't comprehend it. So we don't do that. We understand. If I say, why am I so fortunate? And the fortunate part is something that I launch my why questions without a shadow of a doubt. It's always there because it brings a form of gratitude to my life. Why am I so fortunate? Then my brain needs to answer that first. Becoming someone who consistently creates value and opportunities for other people. That is a different why question that is going to transform the outcome in your life based on your preferred reality, that you clearly define what you want your outcome to be. Your preferred reality is clear. You explain what it is that you want to feel, your behavior, your identity, what you want that person to be. And then you just simply put it in a why question and you launch it. That is it. That is how easy this process is. And what I've done tonight, I've given you a real life example of one person. I've seen many people in my practice that I've done. Many people, I said, oh, let's just try this. They don't know what I'm doing. I just give them the method, and they just do it. And they just do it. And they come back and say, oh my word, look at that. This is what's happened. So I want to challenge you. Go do your why questions. Go define your preferred reality. Go do your why questions. Just launch it. It's not about how you're going to make it happen. So get yourself into a rhythm every morning. Now, for those of you that know that I have created Ava, I have created a tool that works together with Ava that's going to help you do this even better. So for those of you who have got Ava, I have just now created a master prompt that is based on this whole it's not theory, this whole method on how, if you don't know what your preferred reality is, just going to help you get there with the right questions. If you don't know how to, what is it exactly, what it is in your identity you want to bring out, she is going to guide you in this whole process. It is a prompt that I'm selling for $27. But if you get Ava before Sunday, for the normal price of $147, you're going to get those two together. So this is what I wanted to share with you guys. I'm going to stop my share and I'm going to open up for questions if there are any.